What's going on, guys? K-Stu the GOAT once again for Vernon Speak Sports, and we're going to talk about a few things today post A-Day game. Very, very good output for the Auburn Tigers. There were some players missing, but in this particular video, we're going to reflect back on 2018. There were some items that came back to haunt Auburn. We're going to mostly talk about time of possession. We're going to talk about the defense's abysmal stretch between Mississippi State and Alabama. We're also going to talk about how I think some experience will really help the Auburn Tigers. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. War Eagle. YouTube, what's going on? We're talking college sports in the Deep South, where college football is king, and we would like to think that the SEC is the best conference in college football. The SEC West is the best sub-conference. And the battle cry in the Deep South is War Eagle if you are an Auburn fan. Want to give a shout out to my fearless and true gang. Let's get the comment section active. Also, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Let's get the views and the likes and the shares up as well. Also, take a lot of consideration of your comments as possible content for the channel. So your comments definitely do not go unnoticed, whether you know it or not. A lot of the comments that have been displayed have actually turned into videos of some sort. Once again, it's K-Stu the GOAT for Vernon Speak Sports, and we're going to talk about these Auburn Tigers going into 2019 and what kind of fell by the wayside in 2018 and where, we think this thing could possibly go. Big shout out to all the fans that had the opportunity to attend the A-Day game. Always a great event for the Auburn fan base and the players as well. So when we reflect back on 2018, there were a lot of items in place that led to the somewhat demise of the Auburn Tigers down the stretch. You look at a football team who began the season with relatively decent expectations to make a run. You're talking about returning a starting quarterback that had very vague Heisman hopeful tendencies. Entering into the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic in Atlanta, Georgia, Washington was a team that was poised to be the Pac-12 champions. Perhaps they wound up winning the Pac-12 championship game last year. And Auburn won that game. That set the expectation bar very high for the Auburn Tigers. This is usually not something that Auburn is good at, is beating a top 10 team at the beginning of the season, something historically Auburn wasn't good at, but managed to win that game. Then, managed to surrender the game against LSU. I think that's really what started the downfall of the 2018 season. The intensity definitely left the building after that particular ball game. Auburn up 21-10 late in that game, surrendering a long, inexplicable touchdown where you had a linebacker in place to make the play, and then the safety took a terrible angle, resulting in a touchdown in a short period of time. Of course, we know the history of that game. LSU winning by a field goal with seconds left. So when we look at 2018, what were some of the items in place that caused somewhat the debacle? Well, number one, the offense did not stay on the field long enough. They were not productive enough. You're talking about, for the first time in several years, not producing a 1,000-yard runner. You're talking about quarterback decision-making, very, very questionable. Also, you talk about a lack of cohesion at the offensive line. Now, we started to see those things improve down the stretch. Time of possession really was a liability for the Auburn defense, and that's something that, under the Gus Malzahn called offense, will and should improve. You're talking about, averaging about 25 to 30 minutes of time of possession. Gus Malzahn can be a real ball hog when he's coaching and calling plays for the offense. Usually as well, the reason why I think this is going to improve, because usually when Gus Malzahn is calling plays, his teams are highly productive, both in yards and points scored. It's going to be very hard if this offense gets going for defenses to not only catch up, but you don't want to get in a point trading game with Gus Malzahn in the SEC, because most teams in the SEC, their offenses are not predicated on scoring quickly. So that could work out to Gus Malzahn's favor this fall. We look for some tremendous improvement in offense because, I mean, the tools are there. Okay. Now, when we move over to the special teams, I think the special teams took a huge step back. Anders Carlson has an incredibly strong leg, but he just definitely wasn't what his brother was. Okay, so when we talk about place kicking for the Auburn Tigers, definitely will have to be a little bit more reliable, because you're looking at over the years of Daniel Carlson's production, and you're talking about 80+% in some of his years as a field goal kicker. Of course, never missing any extra points, but the field goal position, the place kicking and field goal kicking was very reliable for the Auburn Tigers. And if you talk about the points left on the table, you're talking about 3 points left on the table against Washington, as he missed one there. Also missed a very momentum stealing field goal against Mississippi State. I think that could have made somewhat of a difference momentum-wise in that ball game. Then we fast forward to the defense. I think the defense statistically was one of the better defenses in the country when you look at points allowed per game. However, when you look at a stretch between Mississippi State and Alabama, your perception or your opinions about the defense may change. This defense surrendered over 400 yards per game, was on the field for an ungodly amount of time, also surrendering 20+ first downs per game. And you would be shocked, but averaged giving up 28 points per game. What we expect this year is better linebacker play. I think what I saw on film of the A-Day game gives promise to that. I really believe that Owen Pappoe is going to be very active in the linebacker core. Even saw him line up at times at the Mike linebacker position, but that position belongs to K.J. Britt. So we look to improve on defense as well. I think, the tools are in place. Definitely going to get some help from Charles Moore, the defensive end out of Mississippi. He's very agile. Kobe Wooten played a little bit in the spring game. That's going to help out defensive end-wise. The linebacker position seems to be in pretty decent shape outside of lack of experience. So we just look to improve on those things for the Auburn Tigers headed into 2019 with the potential to make a run for the SEC West and hopefully entering the SEC championship, and let the chips fall where they may after that. Once again, it's K-Stu to go for Vernon Speaks Sports. We're trying to keep this thing going every single day for the Auburn Tigers. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It's going to show up as Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Until the next video, which might be today, War Eagle.